one of the benefits of like a series is like if it, like a traditional series is it's like you create the characters, you create the world, you create the magic system, you're doing all of that work up front, and then you can just go with each book. I mean, you have to like plot it out and raise the stakes, and like there's obviously like it's a challenge, but all of that initial stuff is done for you in the first book, and you can just continue on with the second and then continue on with the third. It's same world, same magic, and maybe you like build on it and like and you like have new revelations and things. The world that Rune and Gideon exist in, witches used to rule. They were overthrown and now they're hunted down and purged. So it felt like the story follows two main characters: Rune Winters, who is a witch hiding in plain sight, and she secretly rescues witches from the purge. She's like, she pretends to be, well, she is a socialite. She's an heiress and a socialite, but she pretends to be something she's not in order to throw like the witch hunters off her scent, because she is secretly rescuing these witches and she is herself a witch. And that's just like a deadly thing to be. And then Gideon Sharp is the second point of view character, and he is like the captain of the witch hunters. And he is on to Rune. So those are that's sort of the background. But yeah, so Rune does have like Rune is like, she is pretending to be something she's not on the surface. So kind of silly. So if anyone has read The Scarlet Pimpernel, I was very inspired by that book. I grew up reading that book and like going to see the play at the Stratford Festival, and I've just kind of been obsessed with that story since I was little. And so I wanted something, I wanted to kind of, it definitely inspired this book. I wanted a book that had all those things. So Rune is like loosely inspired by the character of Percy from The Scarlet Pimpernel. So very like kind of foppish, silly, airheaded, like only into fashion, or at least pretends to only be into fashion. She is very into fashion, but she's like putting on this identity of like just silly it girl kind of. And then her other side is like this girl who like wades through the sewers in her like designer dresses to like help these witches get on boats to get off the island before they're killed. So she has these very, she's like a like juxtapositioned identities. And I wanted to do that because I wanted to like, I love complicated, complex characters, but I just wanted to say like you can be all things. You can like be a fashionista. You can be really into dresses and shoes and all these things, and also be risking your life and like really brave and courageous for like this greater good. It's like that just juxtaposition. So well, and especially with Gideon too. So Rune comes from this upper class aristocracy, like glittering balls and ball gowns and parties and like luxury and privilege. And then Gideon comes from like sort of the poorest neighborhood in the city, and he grew up kind of like foregoing meals so that his little sister could get more to eat, and like remembers like his clothes going threadbare basically before he could get new ones. And so I really wanted to juxtapose like the classes there, and also because now like witches like aren't, so witches used to be on like the top of society and now they're on the very bottom. Rune just happens to be hiding, and so like that is like another sort of juxtaposition or like a turning of the tables. um and yeah, I think I just like that sort of like all the like glitz and the lights and all of that kind of side by side against like the dark and the downtrodden and stuff like right beside. I just think it's interesting. Rune's backstory is that so she grew up among this like witch aristocracy. Everyone she loved and admired was like a very wealthy witch. And then her grandmother, when the revolution happened, her grandmother was purged, so she had to watch her grandmother die at the hands of the regime, of the new regime, I should say. And then Gideon, on the other hand, he grew up very poor, and him and his family were at the mercy of these very cruel witch queens. And he just had to watch his family just like one by one be kind of decimated and like killed off by these witches. And so um, for him, witches are evil and they need to be eradicated. Like there's just no question in his mind. And then for Rune, witches are innocent and good, and what's happening, like, and like the regime is like really the evil bad thing. So they have kind of opposite, they have opposite situations but opposite worldviews too. So I sold this book on proposal. So I had 7 chapters written and a very, I'm like a hardcore plotter. So I had a very extensive outline. So my editor knew exactly what was going to happen in that book, in the first book. And then I also submitted, if you were to like open Rebel Witch and read the flap copy, that flap copy is exactly what I submitted as like a pitch for the second book. So I didn't, that's all I knew about the second book was just what I wrote in that pitch. Like I kind of knew what Gideon's like central conflict was going to be, and I knew who the big bad guy was going to be. And Rebel Witch, I feel spoiled. Like, okay, I feel like I was really spoiled with this book. It was so much fun to write. It was such a joy, and it was so easy because it was so much fun. And I'm afraid I'm never going to have that experience again. So, but yeah, just thinking about the book makes me excited, because it was fun. So I think so. So at the end of book 2, or sorry, the end of Heartless Hunter, Rune and Gideon are kind of on opposite sides of this brewing war. There's been betrayals. There's been like love, almost love, but then betrayal. The return of this huge villain, a very dangerous witch. And so I really wanted them to start on, like, I had them in book 1. They start on opposite sides. They have these opposite worldviews. He's a witch hunter. She's a witch saving witches. And then like by the end of that book, they're almost coming together. And then like everything falls apart. And so then in book 2, they're like on opposite sides. There's like this war that's brewing. And Gideon basically knows exactly who Rune is and is like sent to like hunt her down. And Rune kind of in those first chapters like overturns his expectations, and then they basically have to team up. So like in order for them to both get their goals, because Gideon has this realization, if he kills Rune, something worse is going to happen. So he can't kill Rune yet. And so basically they team up reluctantly. So they're like, they don't trust each other. They're mad at each other because they betrayed each other, all these things. And so it's just like really like, it's like this like really juicy conflict, and like history between these two characters. But now they have to work together and they're kind of forced into like close proximity. And that was just so much fun. And so yeah, so and then the stakes basically, so Gideon's big conflict in this book is like either he he stays loyal to his republic that he helped build. So he overthrew these witches because they were bad and they were hurting people. And he has all of these friends and all of these comrades who were like at his side, doing these things and believe in this republic. So he could either stay true to that and like lose Rune, like potentially like for good, like she dies, or he can like betray all of that or like reject all of that and like kind of break those bonds with the people he loves and is like sworn to protect in order to like save Rune, who he also loves. So it's like it's this like really difficult, it's like he's kind of between a rock and a hard place, I guess. And I just like love that. I love putting characters in these positions where they have to make these impossible choices, and then like let them go. Well, I kind of mashed up a bunch of things, but it's actually, so the island that they live on, the New Republic, is an island, and it's modeled after the island where I used to live, Newfoundland. It's sort of set in the North Atlantic, very sort of rugged and wild. And then because the story is loosely inspired by the Scarlet Pimpernel is set during the French Revolution. And so it has a lot of like French Revolution vibes. It's got like revolvers, there's like gas lights, there's carriages, like anything that you would kind of find at that time, I kind of put in there to give it that sort of vibe. Yeah. And then also like, yeah, I would sometimes I describe it as like the time period as Bridgerton meets Downton Abbey, even though it's like, so like there's like French Revolution stuff in there, and then so it's like this mishmash of things. Even though like those two things, Bridgerton and Downton Abbey are on like opposite sides of the same century. So like those two things are not happening at the same time. But like that's the beauty of fantasy is you can kind of like fudge things a little and readers will still follow you.